Kate, you've shared with us that folks who are studying the consequences for young people who have more than a very occasional usage of pornography show that there is brain change and brain chemistry change that looks a lot like addiction. So let's just simply say it appears that looking at pornography can be addictive. And you have shared with us thoughts that there are statistics out there that show somewhere between 40 and 90% of high school age males or on more than occasional percentage looking at pornography. Well, this is a terrible set of statistics that intersect with one another. What should we as grandparents and parents do out of the concern that it's very likely that our children are looking at pornography and there's a significant risk that it could become addictive? What are we to do?
Well, I think the first is to assess what, if you can, and if your kid's honest enough with you, what is their use of that pornography? Is it the kid whose friends are emailing a couple of things and he sees them and deletes them? Or is it someone who's intentionally seeking out that kind of information, who's intentionally watching videos or just screenshots or whatever? The intentionally seeking it out is the kid who has the potential to see it on an excessive level and then potentially become addicted to it. Filters help, but they're not the answer to not talking to our kids. You can have all the filters you want in the world, and I guarantee our kids are smarter with use of technology than we will ever be, and so they're gonna find a way around it, or they're gonna find a different computer or a different device. I would say the first parental way that we can interact, engage, lessen this behavior is to not let our kids have their devices in their rooms by themselves. It's extremely difficult to do that because people read their books on their device. People have to do their homework on their laptop. But even if we just limit the time that people have those devices, that they're not left in your room overnight, there's a lot of data on the fact that sexting and sending pictures happens much later at night when kids have their phones or their tablets in their rooms by themselves unmonitored. So just making sure that there's a central plug-in station in your house, or there's a common computer use area. It might just be the kitchen table, everybody take their laptops out. Making sure that there's some interaction with other people around those devices. 1. 2, check the person's device. Check their history. See what's going on. And I personally am against checking when the kid's not around. I think you sit down together and you check it. It also means that your kid cannot have a password for any site that you don't know. So if you sit down together and you log in and the password doesn't work, that's an immediate signal that something else is going on. It might be that somehow they forgot their password, they reset it, they forgot to tell you. That's still something wrong because the rule was I need to know all your passwords. And as long as they're using devices within your house on your IP address and devices, that you've probably helped fund, it's your responsibility to make sure that those stay safe. It's an added responsibility to make sure your kids stay safe. So don't feel bad about knowing your kids' passwords. Don't feel bad about restricting the use of their technology. Now, it does mean that you probably have to look at yourself a little bit, make sure that you do it. Are you sitting in front of the TV with your device all the time? Is your device in your bedroom late at night? There's some disparity issues that we probably have to think about as adults. Those 2 practices alone will be really helpful to mitigate the kinds of things that our kids do online and the kinds of things they see. But the last one is probably the most important. Just talk about it. Tell them what they're going to see on the internet if they go looking for it. Tell them why you don't approve of it. Tell them why it's against your Christian values, the way in which people's bodies are treated or the way in which they're objectified and not seen as human beings. Talk about why your values would say, we don't choose to use pornography, or this is the way pornography treats men and women. This is how it depicts sexuality, and that's not what we think sexuality or sex should be in a relationship. Just having that conversation alone, at the very least, gives them a way to critically engage when and if they do see the pornography. They have a value voice in their head. They have a voice that they appreciate, that they want to hear from, and they can bring that to their engagement with it if a friend shows it or if they do go looking for it.